Welcome back, guys. Again, very interesting individuals, very interesting stories about families and family businesses. Mrs. Aditi Kothari Desai, I'm really looking forward to sharing your story with the community, and hope that they learn and extract some of your expertise and do things better for the future of many families. Thank you again.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'd like to start, if you don't mind, with a bit of history on the family. It's quite an old family. The strange side of it is that there are not many family members. So I'd like to hear your story in there.
So of course the business was started in the mid 19th century by my great grandfather, who's part of the DSP. Our family is called DSP, the DSP group now, and the P in the DSP, Parbudas, started this family. He went into stockbroking back in the day, and he used to trade with others under a tree.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And he was the founder of the original Bombay Stock Exchange. So they even did trading before there was a stock exchange. So our family's been in the financial services business, I would say, from the very beginning of financial services businesses, even before they formalized in India.
Wow, that's a story. Okay.
So it's been in our blood.
Amazing. And then how did the family evolve as an office, and what is the story as of since then till today, and what are the main activities that you run now?
Okay, so what we did is, the family was only in broking. We had quite a name in the industry. And then my father, in the late 60s, early 70s, diversified it into investment banking. People didn't even know what investment banking was. There was no IPO market. He introduced and formed the IPO market in India. He pioneered many practices in the market, and good practices in the market, and formalized the market in many ways and took it forward. In addition, we did M&A earlier than most. We had a full-fledged investment bank. Merrill Lynch then took a stake in it in '94, and then and then they had 40% of the business. So it got even much more professionalized as a business. And I couldn't really say it was a family business anymore because it was very professionally run. And then in 2006, actually 2005, unfortunately, my mother passed away. In 2006, we sold the business, the broking, the investment banking, but we kept the investment management business with us. And we grew that business, but we gave the wealth business away. We grew the investment management business. We manage about $30 billion today. In the middle, because Merrill Lynch and BlackRock had merged, we also had a joint venture with BlackRock, but then we bought them over in 2018. And so now it's just pure DSP. And DSP has, as I said, 30 billion under assets under management for Indian investors that want to invest into Indian markets primarily. A little bit, we also advise on international markets for the Indian investors. And we have over 50, I would say over 5 million investors who have ever, done any business with DSP investors. So it's quite sizable, and
it's all in the public sphere, yeah?
It's all public markets because that's our forte. We also have international investors who want to invest into India, sovereign funds, the Middle East, Scandinavia, and in US, Canada, and we also have family offices who are interested in India, outside India, who want to get access to public markets in India. So we have a UCITS fund out of Ireland also. So we are expanding internationally because there's so much interest in India.
Okay, of course, yeah.
And
it's not easy to find also good asset managers,
right,
that understand India.
I think it's that, and also because we're a family office, we're unique. All our money is in our funds.
Okay.
And it's not just...
They're totally aligned.
We're completely aligned. So all our public market money in India, I would say, that has to go into funds is in our funds. Let me put it that way.
Understood.
We do a little private equity and things, but not much. We are also public market biased or fixed income biased. So we want to run your money the way we run ours. So
got it.
Sort of one of our mottos.
How does the family office look like? How does the family look like? How do they talk? And you told me that you are one of the earlier females that actually got into the business. I'd like to hear about that. Yeah.
That got in, but I have a sister who's joined, but she's on the family office side. The way we're structured is we have an investment management firm. I then decided to start a fintech firm on my own with a co-founder, and it's really a SaaS platform on one end for distributors of our mutual funds or advisors, and we also have bespoke services for the asset management industry that we're doing out of this company. And we also have a lending business that we just started, which will be digital first, of course, all of it, because I tell everyone, Amazon was a physical business, they've made it digital. Ours should have been a digital business, we made it physical, we have to make it digital again.
Okay, interesting.
I'm very focused on making it as digital as possible. After you make it digital, then you can do AI and all the other fancy things on it.
I agree.
But first, we have to make it digital and make people think like that. And that's what we're doing. And people know us for that, actually. So forward thinking, even though we're 160 years old, we have a family office where we run our own money, which I said is if it's public and it's in funds, then it's invested in our own funds. My sister is looking at putting money in privates and doing direct investments in startups that we like. So she looks after that a little bit. The person heading it all is my husband. So that's how you have family involved. My sister's husband also has a fund that he started, which is called Greenstone, and it is for sustainable investments and businesses. So that's a little separate, but of course, we'll be supporting that. So we have different family members involved in different ways, but of course my father's still chairperson of it all, and he's, as I said, been very respected in the business, but my sister and I need to take over because he is 78 now. And
how big is the family, if I may ask?
It's just me and my sister. She has 2 children who are 5 and 3. My sister's husband that I mentioned, and my husband.
And how do you take decisions? Is there any specific governance structure they deal with in the family?
No, we don't. But I think over time we will have that. I think the good thing is, and touch wood for this, my sister and I have a very, very good trusting relationship.
Okay.
Trusting both skills-wise and trusting, of course, in other ways.
Okay.
And I think that's very important. My husband and I have no children.
Okay.
That's another reason I think we're all aligned, because the next gen is everyone's next gen.
Okay, I understand.
And I think that does make a difference. And the next gen is only 5 and 3. Hopefully they'll be interested in this and want to take it forward. But they do have the privilege to, decide what they want to do with their future.
And I know this could be a difficult question. It's always a difficult question. If you have a time machine and you can go back in time and fix a couple of things, what would that be?
Personally, I would say, of course, we lost my mother too early. Was there things we could have done? Everyone started looking after their health more.
Okay.
Focused on that because we're so small, we don't want to lose each other. From a professional point of view, maybe, we should have kept the wealth management company, which we actually sold off as well, because it's sort of complementary to what we do now.
Okay.
And I was always interested in B2C.
Okay, interesting.
And that's why the asset management makes sense.
Oh.
But even the other part would have made more sense to keep, in one way, maybe diversified at that time, much more into lending as opposed to now. The positive is, I don't have any regrets, because the earlier we did it, the earlier systems we'd have. We think much more digitally today.
Okay, yes.
We don't have to deal with legacy systems anymore.
Okay.
We can start from scratch, know the mistakes of someone else, and build today. And that to me is a huge positive in a business like mine. There's nothing that you can get left behind as such. Otherwise, I'm very happy with what I did. Both my sister and I, she followed me, I would say. I did my undergrad in finance. I was born and brought up in Bombay. My father was merchant banker, investment banker in the 80s and 70s. We introduced what is IPOs in the market today to the Indian market, and he really built the market. But I didn't know what he did, because when you were in the 80s, you went to school, people said, my father's, a jeweler, my father's an engineer, my father, has a factory. There was something physical.
Yeah, okay.
No one understood. I said, my father's a merchant banker. They're like, what's that?
Explain that,
I didn't know how to explain it. So I think I was very keen to understand it more, just out of curiosity. People said, oh, do you love finance? I said, I like business, and I happen to be in the business of finance.
You reminded me of a story that happened to me.
Yes.
Quite funnily.
Yes.
So I'm a telecom engineer. So I was quite an engineer, really rooted into it. I was really good at it, actually. And one time my father took me to this money manager, yeah? It was my first real interaction with the money manager. I was really young. And then after spending like an hour listening to them, my father and that money manager, on the way out, my father goes, what do you think of the guy? I recall I was 21 or something like that, 20 or 21. I said, Dad, I want to be like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And my father was a bit surprised. He goes, why? Why? It's like it's the first time that comes out from me. I said, well, I didn't understand anything of what he said.
You're curious, you want to understand, you want to learn.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes.
So, and he had the funny, he had the fancy offices and
It's all glamorous also.
Yeah, it's all glamorous.
And in the 80s, that movie came out, Working Girl.
Okay.
So, for me, it was all of that.
Yeah, that's it. Now, I went through the whole, I actually changed careers in order to do that. But once I went into it, I found a different purpose, really more so towards quality of life, education, healthcare, some tech, more so than money management. But all that being said, it was a funny story I wanted to share.
It's out of curiosity. Most people, when they're 18 and they say, oh, I want to do investment banking, have no clue what they're saying. Even when they're 22 and they graduate, sometimes they don't know.
Yeah, they see the suits and the gelled hairs.
Absolutely. Wall Street had just come out as a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone is curious, and the name Wall Street was a big deal.
Yeah. They get Ferraris and it's like,
I know. Back in the 80s, especially 80s,
yes.
90s. My father actually challenged me, as for a girl to go in the 90s to study in America alone, and he wasn't very keen. But I got into Wharton. He almost challenged me, and I said, I'll get in, and I did. And it was the best undergrad business program that was in America. So I did that in University of Pennsylvania. I did that for 4 years. After that, I worked for 2 years in New York in investment banking, and
that would have been a zoo.
It was crazy. So all that glamour about working and all of that just fell somewhere, saying, why would anyone want to do this? And but I did understand it very well, okay? Yeah. And then I worked for 5 years in India, and then I went back to do my MBA. So I was in Boston at Harvard to do my MBA, and then I came back to India and I started working back in the investment management business.
Amazing.
And I started the international investment management business before I went to Harvard.
Okay, interesting.
So that was sort of like my essay and almost my little project before I went, and now that's a huge business for us. My sister did exactly what I did. So she did her undergrad in Wharton and then did her MBA at Harvard. So she's working on more of the private equity. But if you ask me, my passion is to build businesses. I had a choice of whether to be just an investor. I could have been a fund manager, tried to go into that shoes. But I realized I like operations, I like businesses, I like to build businesses, which is why I've started all these businesses. I'm about to start one more as well.
That actually brings you closer to what family businesses are. Those are... Yes, they have the experience and the acumen on how to manage money, but many of them are actually operational also, like hands-on. And this is what gives them an advantage in a specific context. Like you really understand operationally how to do things within the context you are in.
You're so right. And then it's easier to invest in businesses, right?
Yeah, so it complements each other. Yeah.
Right. So, but for me, I've always had a kick in that. Also, one, I feel in India, creating jobs.
Yeah,
I think that's very important.
That's a great purpose to live for.
Changing the lives of people, by making them purposeful.
Yes.
And then the other thing is that our families always believed a lot in philanthropy. Everyone says that, but I can tell you from the old mid 19th century, we've always been doing something.
Fantastic.
In fact, I'm personally looking after a hostel in India, so for boys that don't live in Bombay but want to study in Bombay but come from very low economic backgrounds,
Yeah.
but are very driven and ambitious. We have a whole building for them. I looked after that personally. We have many other philanthropic,
Amazing.
which also have to, wildlife conservation being one. We're very passionate whole family
Amazing.
on
Amazing.
saving India's wildlife. So that is another thing. And we tell people, you have to invest for good. We're investing so that we can make money and give it back, really. And hopefully we make money for others who can do the same. And what makes me really happy in India is that in a mutual fund business, in India, it's mandatory that your minimums are pretty low. And our minimums are low to the point of everyone working for us, all staff members, cooks, drivers, any blue collar worker, everyone, we educate them on why they need to invest, because there's such small amounts and they feel so proud. We made a movie on it, and we couldn't believe that people had tears in their eyes that you taught me how to do this, and now my daughter got married, my daughter got educated. So that's really the reason I like to do what I do, as opposed to run my own money.
Amazing. A word of wisdom.
Anything you do, of course, it goes without saying ethics is most important. Someone said, the CEO of my present company said that when he asked one of his mentors in the past, how do I come first? And they said last, which is an odd thing, but think of it, you have to last. So why are we here for 160 years? Because we've lasted for 160 years. And that only comes with deep values, ethics, doing right for your end client, and keeping up your reputation. Otherwise, you can go up like that and crash and burn. And how many do we know that have crashed?
I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot.
Right? Over the years.
And only a couple of decades, yeah.
And it's so easy.
And they
to
come and
bring
go.
it down. I'm not greedy to be the first immediately, but if you can last and last and last, you will always be the first. Thank you.
Thank you so much for blessing us with your attendance in here, Mrs. Aditi, and I hope to see much of you moving forward, and probably visit you in India and do another one of these sessions with the rest of the family.
Please come.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.